What's good with you, YouTube? It's your boy, Chops, coming to you with another video. Like I promised, I was gonna do a video on the fuel system. I got that Willwood disc brake video coming up soon. It's coming up real soon. It's a long video. I had to break it up into 5 different videos. But it is what it is. So I'm gonna do an unboxing of that Willwood coming later on today, maybe tomorrow. But this video here is about the fuel system that I'm running in my 1960 Chevrolet C10, possibly running in my 1960 Chevrolet C10. I'm gonna start off with the pump. This pump here is the Holley external fuel pump. External, not an internal, external. Let me give you that part number. Part number is 12-800. I don't know if you can see that glare coming from my headlight. My lamp might be on that. But anyway, this is Holley external fuel pump. I think this pump is rated at 800 horsepower. It may be rated a little bit more. I'm not sure. I didn't see it in the instructions, but I think it's in several online sites. About the rating of this pump. I'm thinking it's rated at around at least 800. It comes with 2 different side, inlet and outlet. The inlet is 8 AM fitting. Hose go here, the fitting in the hose, and then the outlet is a number 6. So this pump, I don't know how loud it is. I don't know if it's going to be real loud or if you can even hear it at all. I didn't see anything on Holley's website or any other body else website about how loud this pump is, and that's one of my concerns about this pump is how loud it's going to be. But this pump, you have to run a pre and post filter with this pump. Here's this one here is the 100 microfarad. This is the pre-filter. So how it works is you go from the tank to this, and from this to the pump, and from the pump to this. The only thing that I found difficult with this, not really difficult, but that's strange, I guess these external or these filters are made for any type of pump. So they all come with a number 8 AM fitting that attaches here. And it's, like you hear me say earlier, this was a number 6. So I'm assuming you have to either go from, I didn't know that this was a number 6. I thought they were both number 8s. So all my fittings are number 8s. So I need to go from a number 6 up to a number 8, or find a number 6 fitting to go from here and step it up on one end, step it up. Well, I can go step this up right here and go 8 all the way up. Well, probably what I'll do, I'll just get a number 6 female to a number 8, which I don't have here. Because I didn't know that this was a number 6. I thought this was a number 8. Anyway, easy fix though. Easy fix for anybody. Or you can step it down. You can step this down from a number 8 to a number 6 and go number 6 all the way up. It doesn't matter how you do it. Anyway, but like I said, this is the post and pre and post filter. One is the pre-filter is a 100 microfarad screen in here that traps dirt and all kind of stuff, and it is replaceable. And then the post right after the pump is a number 10 microfarad filter. Again, and these are exchangeable in here. You screw this off and you can change out these things once they get dirty. And to hold these filters to your frame rail, which this bolts to your frame rail, some type of bracket that you make to put it somewhere. Most likely people will put it on their frame rail make a little aluminum bracket, mount that to the frame rail, then mount this to the bracket. But to mount these filters, I went ahead and bought some aluminum brackets. The aluminum brackets is 2 per filter that I have. Two per filter. So there they are. I thought that came with bolts. That's what I was looking for, but I guess you don't get bolts with these. Let me double check the box. It might be in the box. Oh, they are in the box. I'm sorry. So you get a little, you get your bolts already for them. Little Allen head bolts. Yeah. So you get 2 of these per filter. I have 4 of these to mount them, make them look nice and neat. Put that on the frame rail. Also, you can make your aluminum bracket for that too. Mount that if you want to. You probably have to make it even. And after you go from that post filter, you have to run up to this. It's a Holley fuel regulator right there, and you have a inlet. You got 2 inlets and 1 return. So how this works is you would go from one end from the post filter, the pre-filter. This would go from this would go back. This side here will go back to the tank. That's your return on the bottom, right here. And this here will go to the fuel rail. From the fuel rail, and then you will come across the front side. It's the way I run mine, from rail to rail, with a piece of braided line from rail to rail. And then the other side, or the back side of the rail, you will cap off. You will cap it off because you're not going to use the other side. So that's how that will work. That is a return system with this regulator right here. Let me show you how I plan on setting this regulator up here. Of course, it comes with a bracket. You mount the bracket to it, and you will have one of these types of fitting here with the little rubber gasket on there for fuel. You will go here. Now these are number 8s. These outlets and inlets are number 8. So you screw that in there like that. The other side, like that. According to wherever you're gonna mount it at, is how, let's see here. Then you will have here, it's the same type, but it's a number 6. Number 6 will screw at the bottom, because the return side is a number 6. This here is only if you're going to be running a turbo or some type of supercharger. That's what this is for. So you don't use this with a setup. But you got number 6 here and 2 number 8s. The inlets are number 8s. And so how I would set mine up, I see here. I start coming from the back. Let's see here, guys. That's going from the tank. Oh no, that's tank. All that stuff is tank. Now right here, this here is a 90. AN, a number 8 AN fitting 90. See the 90? So this here, I will come from the pre-filter. I'm sorry, the post filter. I get them backwards, man, saying them fast. But anyway, that's how that would look. You come in from the post filter to go here. And I'll show you the line that I'm using here in a minute. That's a 90. Now, the other end, I would go with a 45. I will go with a 45. right here's a 45. Let me spin it back off so you can see what it looks like. Tell the difference between a 90 and a 45. That's 45. It's a swivel 45. I like the swivel ones. So that's a 45. Much different than a 90. 90 straight, then a turn down. And how I would set this one up, you see that? See how I got that angle? This in here, like I said, this is coming from the tank. This side here is coming from the tank. It'd be coming from the post filter. This side right here will go to the fuel rail. And this side right here will go back to the tank. This is your return. Will go back to the tank. That's how I will set that up. Just like that. And you mount that wherever you want to mount it at. Most likely I'll probably mount it close to the booster side, or the somewhere below the master cylinder, because I like mine on that side, because when I lift the hood up, I don't want anything on my driver's, I'm just giving on my passenger side, and I can see that gauge. Let me show you that. The fuel pressure gauge. There's the fuel pressure gauge. It goes up to this one goes up to 160, but you know the LS run real good around 60, 65, around in between 60 and 65. It runs real good. That's where it likes to see its pressure. On a performance engine, stock engine, it's seeing 53 to 58, but you know, a little bit more, it runs better. Well, 60, 62, 63, 60, in between 60 and 65, this engine runs real great with that type of pressure. That's the gauge there. This here is I forgot what size end this is, and if you notice, this end is smaller, so I got to get a step up so I can get this gauge in here. Seems like I got a lot of fittings here, but let me explain the fittings, why I got so many. Let me explain why I got so many. All right. This is the pump. I have a number 8. A number 8, it's a male-female fuel fitting for number 8. Open one of these up. Open up another. Well, actually, what I'll do, it's the same fitting that I put into the regulator. I'm going it off camera, so the same fitting here would go into here. Actually, I got the wrong fittings. I don't have the wrong fittings, but this is a number. This is a number. I told you guys wrong. See, this is why. I told you guys wrong. This is a number. This is a number 8, and this is a number 10. So I need to get. Let me see. I need to get some step downs, because I'm definitely not running number 10. I got number 8. If I was running it, so this is. The inlet of this is a number 10. I'm running a number 8. So all my fittings are number 8. So I have to get a reducer to reduce this down for this. Even with these post filter, these are number 8s here. I'm sorry, but the pump by itself is a number 10, which I don't have any 10s in here. I don't have any 10s. I got all 8s. And a few pieces of 6. But anyway, you get the idea how this go. This will go from here to this post filter here, or pre-filter. Let's see if I can. Now I don't want to take it out, because I don't want to get any trash. And plus, I gotta tell you what I'm gonna do with this stuff. in the future. So this would go here with a piece of line. This is number 8. This is number 8 here. And it will go here. Actually, it won't go like that. You have to have another piece. See if I can get that out for you. I think I got one of these already open. Maybe not. This is the straight. It's called a straight, but it holds the line, it holds the hose. This will screw into here like this. And then your line will go in here. So you cut your little piece of line off and you mount these together. This screws apart. This screws apart like this. Actually, this is number 10, so that's why that's not fitting. I got the other line here. But this will go in here, this will back down here. Then you would squeeze this in here. You would squeeze it in here, put your little oil on there, and put that in there. This is the wrong line though. Okay, put this back together. This is number 10. This is number 10. I have 8 here, but I'm not going to pull it out of the box. But you get the idea how that go. You go from here, a little piece of line. Actually, this is the inlet right here, so it wouldn't be a little piece of line. It would actually go all the way back to the tank. And what I got on my tank, I will have, let me pull this out. This will screw down into the tank. This will screw down into the tank. You know, you put you some dough, or you put you some Teflon tape, and this will go to this will screw down into the tank. Boom. Then I will use a 45. I use this 45, spin it in here like this. Whoops, sorry. And this will go this, like I have it angled like this down into the tank. Then I go from however the distance this is from my tank, which you don't really want this pump along what you don't want it at a, you don't want it halfway up the frame rail. You want it real close to that tank, and you want it even, maybe even, not above it. Most likely if you put it on the frame rail, you're gonna be a little bit above it. You don't want this tank, excuse me, you don't want this pump straining, even though this is a strong pump. You don't want it straining, so you want to probably try to put it even with the tank. Most likely that's where it's gonna be anyway. So this will go in the tank, and this you'll have some holes coming from here to here. So that's how that would go, like that. Actually, I told you wrong. Actually, this would be in between the two. This would be in between the two. Like, this post filter, pre-filter would be in between the two. Tank, filter, pump. That's how that go. And then, of course, on the other end, you will run the same way, but it have the post filter after it, and you have the same setup. Instead of having a 45 and it's going into the tank, you would have straight pieces, which is, these are straight pieces here. I'm not going to take it out of the bag. That's a straight there coming from the pump to this filter. You will have, actually you have one of these going into the pump, and then one of these connected to it. Then you have line hose coming out, and then the same thing on the other side of the filter. And then the other side of the filter, you will have the same thing coming out again, going to the fuel rail. Pretty easy setup. it's just a lot of fittings that you got to buy, a lot of these AM fittings that you got to purchase, and some hose. But it's pretty easy setup. The only thing that, like I said earlier, that I may not like about this, it may be too loud for me, and I don't want to hear my pump over my, exhaust or over my motor. I don't want to hear that. So, hence is what I'm about to say, that I may not run this in my car. I'm not gonna run it in my car. I'm gonna get an internal pump, which by Motive is what I'm gonna run. An internal pump. Same thing I have on my 83 Chevrolet C10, which is an internal pump by Motive. That's what board welded the tanks that I'm running in my vehicles, except for the box. I got a board weld, and they recommend Motive. That's what they're running them. That's what they sell with them. I just purchased the tank without the pump because I was gonna run this. Then I got to thinking, man, some of these pumps are pretty loud. I don't know what the dBs on this one is as far as how loud it is. I don't want to hear pump. Plus, too, having the pump in the tank keeps the pump cool. Now, I didn't want to run. Honestly, I don't like the Warbler 255, even though that's what's in my box. It's just a cheap way of doing it, and I think they don't last that long. There's other companies out there that make a better pump. If you're gonna run a 255 Warbler, there's other pumps out there other than that. I've been doing my research on it, but I'm just gonna go with Motive, which is Motive is one of the ones that's better than a Warbler 255. So that's what I'm gonna stick with, and that's why I'm not gonna run this. I'm just showing you this. I'm just telling you this video here what one of the fuel systems that you can set up for an LS. I think if I sat down and thought about it, this way is kind of expensive. This setup here is kind of expensive, including the hose and all these fittings. I probably got about 9. If I had to do a high estimate, I probably got about $950 to $1,000 in this stuff sitting right here with the hose. 6 foot of this braided line here, this arrow hose will run you almost $60 for 6 foot. So I have 20 feet of number 6, and I think 20 feet of number 8, and I do. So I probably got about $1,000 sitting in this stuff right here. It's kind of the expensive way to go. I wouldn't recommend this. Well, I don't know how somebody else's pocket is, but if this is your first setup, LS setup, I don't recommend going this way. Put your money towards something else. Maybe put your money towards a cam or intake, and just run like I did on my box. Which honestly, on my box, I have a Warbler 255, but I got braided line and I got AM fittings, Russell. So I mean, that you can make it expensive. I could have just ran fuel line, all the way throughout and been a lot cheaper. But being that the box is not my first build, actually the 83 Chevrolet is my first build, and I still didn't do it in that one. I actually ran braided line in that too. But if you're building on a budget, I wouldn't recommend this at all. I recommend going the fuel line, with the Corvette fuel filter. If you're not familiar with the Corvette fuel filter, this is the Corvette fuel and regulator. It's a regulator and a fuel filter. It's made for the Corvettes. They came out in '97. I want to say '97. This is what they have. It's all-in-one filter and regulator. I think it regulates the fuel to around 53, depending on what setup you got on your intake. Because I think some of them, well, the Corvette, this is all the Corvette had right here. But in other models, you have a different type of filter, with the regulator being on the fuel rail. I don't too much care for this model here or this setup here, because I don't trust these things. I don't trust them. I had a problem with this when I first installed it in my my box. It doesn't tell you what is what, and I'm not a mechanic. I learn on the go, and when I put mine together, if you mix these up, I had one going. I was thinking, since this was in the middle, that it was the inlet and not the return. So I swapped them. And when I swapped them and ran my motor, I messed this thing up. Even though it was still flowing after I swapped it back, but it still messed the internals up in it, because I couldn't get I would drive my car for a little bit, and I would get ready to park it and put it in reverse to go to park it, and it would shut off. It would stall on me. Come to find out, I had messed this regulator up. You know, so, and not having a gauge just tell me what my fuel pressure was, you know, I didn't know. But this thing was messed up. I had to put a new one on. I hate this thing right here. I'd rather have one of these set up in my build than this with a gauge. But if you're starting out, this is fine. You don't have to be a baller if this is your first build. Second or third build, man, you step your game up, get your budget right, go with something like this. It's better. I don't like this shit. Even though GM engineered this shit to work, it works, but I just don't like. You can still use this here and add a gauge, but you know, I just don't like this. I don't like it at all. If mine ever act up again in my box, I will be switching to something like this. And doing away with that regulator and I will put this regulator on here right here with a gauge. So, but guys, that's it for the fuel system. Again, you know, external pump. You know, the only thing that I'm not liking about this external pump, I don't know how loud it's gonna be. So I'm thinking about not running this. I actually am not gonna run this. What I'm gonna do with this setup here, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna give this away to some lucky winner once I reach 500 subs. Once I reach 500 subs, I'm gonna give this to somebody. This with the filters. That's all they're gonna get. They're not gonna get the regulator. They're not gonna get my fittings. They're not gonna get any holes. They're only gonna get the pump, the 2 filters, and the brackets to hold the filters down. I'm gonna go in more detail once I get close to my subs. So 500 subs, once I reach close to 500 subs, I will do another video on this giveaway. I got several giveaways I want to give away, but in stages. I mean, just to give you a hint, I have some LS headers from, I think they Headman headers, unfinished, undone, that I'm gonna give away too once I reach another milestone. So, but I will go in detail once I get close to the subs. I think I'm setting at about 100 subs, 400 more to go, and I will give this away to some lucky winner. All right, guys, external setup. One of the systems that you can run on an LS engine, or it doesn't have to be an LS engine. It can be from a Gen 1, Gen 2, or Gen 3 setup. Doesn't have to necessarily have to be those other companies that I'm not going to name. I don't like to name nobody but GM. I'm not going to name anything else. But this can run on any system. You just got to, you know, figure out your routing, and, you know, that is it. Guys, external setup, fuel filter, post and pre filter, regulator, pump, fittings, hoses. These hoses here are Russell. I do have Earl, and I like to run, I try to run everything one company, because that's the way this stuff was engineered. That's the way I like to do it. So Earl is actually made by Holly, and I do got the number 8 and number 6. What I will I will sit down and give everybody, once I give this thing away, I will give part numbers away so that they'll know what fittings to get and hoses to get and all that stuff. So, all right, guys, that's the video. External Holly fuel pump, one of the systems that you can run when you're doing a swap. All right, see you later. Peace.